Welcome members to this first meeting of our planning committee for the 3rd of February 2022. Welcome back all the members of the committee, the mayor, councillors, independent Māori statutory board members. And I wish you all the very best for the year ahead. It's going to be a very busy and fast-paced year. At today's meeting, Glenn Wilcox is the alternate member for Independent Māori Statutory Board member Tō Henare, and Independent Māori Statutory Board member David Taipari might be joining us, though he is travelling in the Hauraki district at the moment, I believe. Kalinda, can I please pass to you for a roll call, please?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Bartley.
Morena.
Councillor Casey.
Morena, Kalinda.
Deputy Mayor.
Morning.
Councillor Collins.
Kia ora, Kalinda.
Councillor Coombe.
Morena koutou.
Councillor Cooper.
Kia ora, and I just want to give my condolences to the Independent Māori Statutory Board for the untimely and sad passing of Leanne Nāmane.
Thank you, Councillor Cooper. Councillor Dalton.
Morena.
Councillor Filipaina. Councillor Fletcher.
Present.
Mayor Goff.
Matamarie.
Councillor Henderson.
Morena.
Councillor Hills. Councillor Mulholland. Councillor Newman. Councillor Sayers.
Present, thank you.
Councillor Simpson.
Morena, morning everyone, and condolences to IMSB on Leanne too. Thank you.
Councillor Stewart.
Good morning.
Councillor Walker.
Present.
Councillor Watson. IMSB member Karen Wilson.
Kia ora koutou.
Councillor Young.
Good morning, 大家早.
Member Wilcox.
Okay, good night.
Right. And I can see, Chair, that Councillor Hills is now on the call, and we've got Chair Taipari on the phone as well.
Kia ora, thank you. So members, I will move the apologies, noting Independent Māori Statutory Board member Tō Henare for absence. I'll move Deputy Chair Councillor Bartley. Would you second, please?
Second, Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
To the contrary, no. Declare that carried. Thank you, members. Members, I would like to now go to an acknowledgement, and some members have already mentioned this. Members, early in this new year, we lost a former member, a very recent member of this committee, Independent Māori Statutory Board member Leanne Nāmane of Ngāti Tamatira and Ngāti Maru, died following illness. If we could all now just take a moment of silence to reflect on Leanne's considerable life and her appreciable contribution to Tāmaki Makaurau and Komiti Whakariti Māhiri. Following the period of silence, we'll hear from Independent Māori Statutory Board member Glenn Wilcox. A moment of silence for Leanne.
This is what everything takes. It's just terrible, the internet.
Te te kiri, wete te kiri, tātara mo te kiri, onga te kiri, kei mihi ki wauri, kei tangi ki wohoa, tangaroa whatia, tangaroa tara, anga tonu koe ki te reinga ki manawa tawhi. Whati, ko koe kei mihi, ko koe kei aroha, kei mihi ki wauri, kei tangi ki wohoa. Elien, hoi nei taku tangi, hoi nei taku poroporo aki mo. Haere rā e te riana no te ki o te ao. Haere ki te whare tūturu o te tangata ki te puta nui a rehua. Whiti koe maramaru pū korokoro mai te tāhuna kei toto. Ngaki parawai koe, ka anu he ki te papa i Hawaii. Wai te tere re ua hora, no e te ui horaki. E hoki koutou ripa ki te whenua, ki te tōtarara ia. Tēnei mātou, he runga i te toka nei, ka tanginoa ki ti kaparaia. Haere atu rā te ngaru mahana o te kapa moana. Haere atu rā e te pairoa rahi. Haere atu e te mano te whenua, haere atu rā te mana tamate rā. Haere atu rā e kahukura. Haere atu rā e tutu toroho rā. E pautini, re atu rā i te ao nei ki te ao atu rā. E ngā kahua maru. Moke te tirohanga. Haere rā e te whanaunga e rien. Oki rā kātau.
Tēnā koe, te rangatira, tēnā koe.
Mayor Phil.
Kia ora tātou, tēnei te mihi nui ki a koutou. Kua hinga te tōtara I te wā nui a tānei. I think for all of us, and I was contacted by IMSB Chair David Typery on New Year's Day, were shocked at Leanne's passing. It was something that we did not expect, and it was something very clearly that we deeply regret. And as the Maori saying goes, her passing is like the falling of a totara in the forest. It leaves a big gap, both for us on Auckland Council and for the Independent Maori Statutory Board. It's appropriate that we're recognising Leanne at this committee because for nearly 3 terms she played a big role on this committee and made an enormous contribution. And she was uniquely well qualified to do so. She was qualified in both planning and resource management, but she also provided us the Ta'ao Māori view of the world, and she bridged those 2 different areas, and in that sense, it will be very hard to replace her. She always performed her role with dignity, diligently, and with integrity. We'll miss her for the person that she was, her personal qualities, such an easy person to get along with, to talk to, and we'll miss her for the experience and the skills that she brought with us. To her children, Moana and Ruby, both quite young, we pass on our deepest sympathy and our condolences at the premature passing of Leanne, which will affect her family first and foremost, and obviously affects all of those of us that were her friends and that worked with her. Leanne, haere atu rā, moi mai, moi mai, moi mai.
Thank you, Mayor Phil. Members, for firstly, my condolences, and on behalf of the committee, to Leanne's very big whānau. It struck me when I heard this only very recently of Leanne's death on Tuesday morning. It really hit the pit of my stomach. Leanne served on this planning committee and its predecessor, the Auckland Development Committee, for some 7 years as a representative of the Independent Māori Statutory Board. She combined her extensive knowledge, as Mayor Phil outlined, the experience of the planning realm, with her understanding and really deep connections with all mana whenua and all Māori. She was an absolute significant contributor to our committee, strong advocate for mana whenua around the legal framework and the development of the unitary plan, special housing areas way back then. And she helped guide Council's position over those 2 long, hard years of the Auckland Unitary Plan. She was also a member and very active on the Unitary Plan Committee. She formed part of our group delegated to make decisions in response to the Environment Court and the High Court, the appeals being put there. And we received Council's decision on the Auckland Unitary Plan, and that took some 5 years, right through the 2021. She was active in that work. This was quite demanding work. She was always one of the first to be responding to the hundreds of emails and memos from staff, the external lawyers and the consultants that were sending information to the 2 delegated groups that we had operating at that time. It was an enormous task. Leanne was always there. It was through this time I really got to work closely with Leanne alongside my time at the Horeke Golf Forum as well, where she was formidable. She was absolutely committed, Leanne was. Decisions were required at that time on the unitary plan, the appeals with requests for 24-hour turnaround. Sometimes within an hour we had to get back to the court, and Leanne was always available, one of the first to respond. Leanne was highly knowledgeable about planning, about environmental matters, about development issues, and she was expert in the matters of te tiriti, a Waitangi, and te ao Māori and mā tauranga Māori. She was engaged, she took an interest in everything. She was engaged with the Auckland Plan refresh in 18. No bystander was Leanne. She was active at the committee and outside of the committee work. She's been a member of our planning committee since it first started in late 2016, right through to late 2021 when she stepped off for health reasons, as it turned out. She ensured that the planners reporting to the committee adequately and regularly, consistently considered Māori and mana whenua values in their reporting. She was a stalwart. She was a massive contributor to all of us. So on behalf of all the elected members and our staff who she worked closely with, I acknowledge Leanne's tremendous work over these years, her unwavering commitment to our planning committee. The work of the committee has dealt with numerous matters of importance to Tāmaki, Makaurau, and her contribution was vital to the outcomes achieved and that will be achieved. She was astute, knowledgeable, really articulate and convincing, always approachable and always open-minded. But for me, one thing that I'm left with, if I have a picture of her smiling face, is she had a big heart for all people. So her presence in the planning for Tāmaki Makaurau will be missed. Leanne, you have left a really indelible mark upon which Māori and all Aucklanders will benefit for generations to come. Kia hora te marino, kia whakapapa po namo te moana. Kia tere te karo hirohi e mua I tō huarahi. May the calm be widespread, may the ocean glisten as greenstone, and may the shimmer of light ever dance across your pathway. Haere atu e hoa Leanne. Members, feel free to say your own words.
Mr. Chairman, if I can just add something, I just want to acknowledge Councillor Al Filipina, who represented us in the midst of the holiday break, went down to Paeroa with Chair of IMSB, David Taiperi, and I just want to put on record the thanks of all of us, Alf, for the contribution that you made on our behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Filipina, I was intending to go to you now, but please contribute.
Chair, most of the things have been said about it and how we all respected Leanne, but I just wanted to acknowledge, obviously, the people that accompanied, and I was humbled enough to go down to Paeroa to represent Auckland Council. I did say to her family and at the marae at Paeroa that all our love and prayers are with the family, and that's from everybody, including Jim Stabbock and Megan. Megan was another one that worked very closely with it, John Duguid as well. So I mentioned all the staff as well, because as you know, Chair, and you were there as well with the unitary plan when we went through and took the hearings. Leanne was part of that core group that I had as chair of the unitary plan through the hearings process. So ngā mihi ki a koe to everybody who has said something to Leanne. I just want to mihi everybody, and yeah, was just so humbled to represent. Kia ora, thank you.
Kia ora, Councillor Alf. Are there any other words from members? Ngā mihi nui, members. Leanne Namani, Ngāti Tamatira, Ngāti Maru. Harira. Members, will continue with our business now, and we will go to item 2, a call for declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest to be notified for this meeting? There being none, I will now go to item 3 and move the motion to confirm the minutes on the open record of our meeting of 30 November 2021. Motion's on the screen there. Can I have a second from the Deputy Chair, Councillor Bartley, please?
Happy to second, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Bartley. I'll put that motion then. All those in favour say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. The motion is carried. Item 4 is petitions. There are no petitions. Item 5 is public input. There have been no requests for public input for the meeting. Item 6 is local board input, and there were no requests for local board input for this meeting either. Item 7 is extraordinary items. Nothing has been brought to my attention, so I'll go to item 8, and this is at page 11 of our agenda. This report relates to providing feedback to government and the Ministry